Wait, that's not... Mara's voice catches in her throat as the sleek black car pulls up to the curb outside Bellissimo, the upscale Italian restaurant where she's just finished a disastrous blind date. Rain hammers down in sheets, turning the Chicago street into a river of reflected neon. She's already halfway out the door when she realizes she grabbed the wrong coat from the rack. The wool is too heavy, too masculine, too expensive. The scent of cedar and something darker, gunpowder maybe, clings to the fabric. But the date from hell, Marcus with his wandering hands and breath that smells like cheap whiskey, is right behind her, and she's not about to go back inside. Not after he cornered her near the restrooms, pressing too close, ignoring her polite rejections until they became firm ones, and then not-so-polite shoves. The coat was her excuse to slip away while he was in the bathroom. She'd told the hostess she was leaving, grabbed what she thought was her black wool peacoat, and bolted. "Hey!" Marcus's voice cuts through the rain. He's stumbling out onto the sidewalk now, his face red with alcohol and anger. "We're not done! I paid for dinner. You owe me." Mara doesn't wait to hear what she supposedly owes him. She clutches the too large coat around her shoulders and runs. Her heels click against the wet pavement, each step sending cold water splashing up her legs. She makes it 2 blocks before her lungs burn, and she has to slow down, ducking into a doorway to catch her breath. The street is quieter here, darker. The kind of neighborhood that transforms after 10 p.m., from trendy bistros to locked gates and shadows. She should call a cab, an Uber, anything. But when she reaches into her purse, her phone isn't there. She remembers with a sinking feeling. She left it on the table when she went to the restroom. Marcus must have it now, or it's still sitting there. Either way, she's alone in the rain without a way to call for help, wearing a stranger's coat in a part of the city she doesn't know. The coat. She slides her hands into the pockets, hoping maybe there's... yes, a phone. It's locked, of course, face recognition only. But there's something else. Her fingers brush against paper, and she pulls out what looks like a business card. Thick stock. Expensive. In the dim light from a nearby street lamp, she can just make out embossed lettering. V. Marchetti, Acquisitions. There's a phone number, nothing else. No address, no email. Just a name and a number she can't even call because she doesn't have a phone. A noise from the end of the street makes her press back against the door. Footsteps, multiple sets, voices speaking in low tones. She doesn't know why her heart starts hammering, only that some instinct tells her to stay absolutely still. The coat seems to weigh 1,000 pounds suddenly, and the scent of cedar feels suffocating. "Said he'd be here," one voice says, young, nervous. "Well, he's not, and we're getting soaked for nothing." This voice is older, rougher. "Try calling again." A pause. Then, "It's going straight to voicemail. What if something happened?" "To Marchetti?" "Nothing happens to Marchetti. He makes things happen." The name sends ice through Mara's veins. Marchetti. The same name on the business card in her pocket. The same coat she's wearing. Maybe he's with the Russians. You know how those meetings go. "Don't even joke about that. Last guy who made jokes about Marchetti's business ended up..." "Shut it. We don't talk about that." The footsteps fade. Mara waits 5 full minutes before she dares to move, and when she does, she's shaking so hard the coat slips from one shoulder. Russians. Business. The way they said Marchetti's name like it was dangerous just to speak it aloud. She's wearing a Mafia boss's coat. The realization should make her drop it right there on the sidewalk and run. Instead, she pulls it tighter around herself, because the alternative is freezing in her thin dress, soaked through and vulnerable. Because she needs to get home, and home is still 12 blocks away, and she doesn't have money for a cab even if she could find one. So she walks. Every shadow makes her jump. Every car that passes feels like it's slowing down, watching her. By the time she reaches her apartment building, a modest 4th-floor walk-up in a neighborhood that tries hard to be trendy, but mostly just achieves safe enough, her teeth are chattering and her feet are bleeding in her heels. Mrs. Chen from 4B is checking her mailbox in the lobby. She looks up when Mara stumbles in, and her expression shifts from friendly to concerned in a heartbeat. Goodness, dear, you look half drowned. Bad date? Something like that, Mara manages. Her voice sounds strange, hollow. Men aren't worth catching pneumonia over. You get yourself into a hot bath. Mrs. Chen peers at her more closely. That's a nice coat. New? Borrowed, Mara says quickly. Too quickly. I'll be returning it. She climbs the stairs to her apartment, each step an effort. Inside, finally, with the door locked and chained, she lets herself collapse against the wall. The coat falls to the floor in a heavy heap. In the light of her apartment, small, cramped but hers, she can see it properly for the first time. It's beautiful. Hand-tailored, definitely. The kind of coat that costs more than her monthly rent. Black wool with silk lining, and when she picks it up again, she notices details she missed before. A small monogram on the inside pocket. VAM. And something else. Something that makes her blood run cold. There's a stain near the hem. Dark, rusty. It could be wine. It could be mud. But Mara knows, with a certainty that sits like lead in her stomach, that it's blood. She should have left it on the street. Should have never taken it from the restaurant. But it's too late now. She's brought it home, touched it, gotten her fingerprints all over it. Evidence. She's watched enough crime shows to know that's what this is. Evidence of something. Tomorrow, she tells herself. Tomorrow she'll figure out how to return it. She'll drop it at a police station, or leave it outside the restaurant, or something. Anything to get it out of her apartment and her life. She hangs it in her closet, shoved to the back behind her winter clothes, and tries to forget about it. But that night she dreams of dark eyes and darker promises, of hands that could hurt or hold, of a voice saying her name like a prayer or a threat. She dreams of shadows that smell like cedar and gunpowder. 3 days later, she's almost convinced herself it was all an overreaction. The coat is still in her closet, but it's just a coat. She hasn't been murdered in her sleep. No one's come looking for it. The rational part of her brain, the part that got her through nursing school and into a job at Chicago General, the part that handles trauma patients and code blues without flinching, says she's being ridiculous. It's Friday night, and she's just gotten home from a 12-hour shift that felt like 24. Her scrubs are stained with coffee and other things she'd rather not think about. All she wants is a shower, leftover Thai food, and maybe a glass of wine that will help her forget about the patient they lost in the ER today. 17 years old, stabbing victim, bled out before they could get him to surgery. She's thinking about that, about how his mother screamed, about the way the light left his eyes when someone knocks on her door. Not buzzes from downstairs. Knocks. Which means they're already in the building, already on her floor. Mara freezes with her keys still in her hand. It's past 10 p.m. Mrs. Chen goes to bed at 9. The college students in 4C are never this quiet. And she's not expecting anyone. Another knock, firmer this time. Patient. Who is it? Her voice comes out steady. Thank God. Nurse voice, calm and professional even when everything inside is screaming. You have something of mine. The voice from the other side of the door is male, deep, with an accent that speaks of money and private schools barely masking something rougher underneath. It's not loud, but it carries. The kind of voice that doesn't need to yell to be heard. Mara's hand is already reaching for her phone, the new one she had to buy after losing hers, but she stops. Because she knows. Somehow she already knows what he's here for. I think you have the wrong apartment, she tries. 4th floor, apartment 4D. Mara Thorne, 29 years old, registered nurse at Chicago General. You work the night shift most weeks, but you traded with someone to get Friday and Saturday off this rotation. You left Bellissimo Restaurant last Tuesday at approximately 9:40 p.m. And you took my coat. Each word is another nail in the coffin of her denial. He knows where she works, where she lives, her schedule, everything. I'll call the police, she says, but her hand is trembling now. No, you won't. Not a threat, just a statement of fact. Because then you'd have to explain why you've kept stolen property for 3 days, why you ran from the restaurant, why you didn't turn it in. A pause. Because you looked in the pockets, didn't you, Mara? You found the card. Maybe you found other things, and you got curious, or scared, or both. She did look. After that first night, she couldn't help herself. She'd searched every pocket, found the business card again, and a money clip with $500 in cash that she didn't touch. Nothing else. But he doesn't need to know that. The door stays locked, she says. You can have your coat back, but I'm not opening this door. I'll leave it outside. Look through the peephole. What? The peephole. Look through it. Every instinct screams at her not to. Don't engage. Don't look. Call 911 and let them handle it. But she's already moving toward the door, already rising on her toes to press her eye against the small glass circle. The man on the other side of her door is not what she expected. He's young, early 30s maybe. Dark hair, cut short, but not military short. Sharp jawline with a shadow of stubble that looks intentional. He's wearing a black suit that probably costs more than her car, tailored perfectly to broad shoulders and a lean frame. But it's his eyes that catch her. Even through the distortion of the peephole, they're striking. Pale blue, almost gray, the kind of eyes that miss nothing. He's looking directly at the peephole, directly at her, and he smiles. It's not a friendly smile. It's the smile of someone who's used to getting what they want, who finds her resistance amusing rather than challenging. My name is Vincent Marchetti, he says, and the name confirms her worst fears. I own the Bellissimo, along with several other establishments in Chicago. I was there Tuesday night for a business dinner. You took my coat by mistake. I understand that. It happens, but that coat has something in it that I need back. Something important. There's nothing in it, Mara says through the door. I checked. Just a business card and some cash. Check again. Inside breast pocket, there's a lining. It has a seam that opens. She doesn't want to walk away from the door with him out there, but the intensity in his voice tells her this isn't going to end until she does. She moves quickly, pulling the coat from the closet, bringing it back to the door. In the light of her living room, she examines the inside breast pocket. He's right. There's a seam that's barely visible, and when she presses it, it opens. Inside is a flash drive. Small, black, unmarked. Got it, she calls out. Good. Now open the door and give it to me. I'll slide it under the door. The drive is worth $2 million, Mara. I'm not picking it up off your hallway floor. Open the door. $2 million. The number is so absurd, she almost laughs. But Vincent Marchetti, because she has no doubt that's who he is, doesn't sound like he's joking. How do I know you won't hurt me? If I wanted to hurt you, we wouldn't be having this conversation. His voice is matter of fact. I would have had my people pick you up 3 days ago. You would have woken up somewhere very different, and this would have gone very differently. I'm at your door at 10 p.m. on a Friday, alone, asking politely. That should tell you something. It does tell her something, but she's not sure what. Her hand is on the deadbolt before she consciously decides to open it. The chain stays on. She's not stupid, but she opens the door the 3 inches the chain allows. Vincent Marchetti is even more striking in person. The peephole didn't capture the full effect of him. He's tall, she's 5'7", and he's easily got 6 inches on her. The suit is definitely expensive, charcoal gray with a subtle pinstripe, but it's his hands she notices most. Long fingers, one with a silver ring that looks like a family crest, and tattoos. She can see them peeking out from his collar, dark lines of ink that disappear beneath the expensive fabric. He's looking at her with those pale blue eyes, and she realizes she's still in her scrubs. Her hair is falling out of its ponytail. She probably smells like hospital disinfectant and exhaustion. The drive, he says, holding out one hand. The other stays in his pocket, relaxed, non-threatening, or at least trying to appear that way. Mara holds up the coat instead. Take the whole thing. I don't want it. Just the drive. I don't want to keep your coat. I'm giving it to you. His eyes narrow slightly. You're cold. I noticed you don't have a proper winter coat in your closet. Just that thin pea coat that probably belongs at Goodwill. Consider it payment for the inconvenience. Payment? She can't help the sharp laugh that escapes. You tracked me down, showed up at my apartment at night, and you think a coat is payment for scaring me half to death? Something flickers across his face. Not quite regret, but close. You're right. That was poorly phrased. Consider it an apology, then. I don't want your apology, Coat. I want you to take it and leave. They're at a stalemate. She's holding the coat and the drive through the gap in the door. He's standing in her hallway, making no move to take either. You looked at the drive, he says finally. It's not a question. No. Don't lie to me, Mara. You're curious. I can see it. You found the hidden pocket, you saw the drive, and you thought about plugging it into your laptop to see what's worth $2 million. He's wrong. She didn't think about it. She actually did it. Plugged it in, opened the files, and found nothing. Encrypted. Password protected. Just a series of folders she couldn't access. But she's not about to tell him that. I didn't look, she repeats. Vincent studies her for a long moment, and she has the uncomfortable feeling he can see right through her. Then he does something unexpected. He smiles again, but this time it's different. Warmer. Almost genuine. You're a terrible liar, he says, which is probably why you're a nurse instead of in my line of work. It's also why I believe you're not a threat. A threat? I didn't mean to take your coat. It was a mistake. I was just trying to get away from a bad date, and I grabbed the wrong one, and she's babbling now, she knows. But she can't stop. I'm nobody. I have student loans and a one-bedroom apartment, and I just worked a 12-hour shift. I don't care about your business or your drive or whatever illegal thing is on it. I just want to forget this whole week happened. Illegal? Vincent raises an eyebrow. That's an assumption. You have thugs who talk about Russians and bodies. You hide flash drives in secret coat pockets. You track down random women who accidentally take your things. What else am I supposed to think? That I'm a businessman who values his privacy and his property. He says it smoothly, but there's steel underneath. The people you heard weren't thugs. They were security. The Russians are potential business partners, and the flash drive contains financial records for my restaurants. Boring stuff. Payroll, taxes, vendor contracts. Not exactly thriller material. Mara wants to believe him. God, how she wants to believe him. Because the alternative is that she's standing 3 inches away from a dangerous man who could end her life with a phone call. Then why is it worth $2 million? Because if certain competitors got hold of those records, they could undercut my suppliers, poach my staff, and run me out of business. In my world, information is currency. He tilts his head slightly. You're shaking. She is. She's been shaking since she opened the door, but it's getting worse now. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving her cold and exhausted, and so far out of her depth, she might as well be drowning. I had a patient die today, she says, and she doesn't know why she's telling him this. A kid, 17, wrong place, wrong time. Someone stuck a knife in him over a street corner in colors and stupid gang pride. And now I've got a mafia boss at my door talking about $2 million flash drives, and I can't do this tonight. Vincent's expression shifts. For a moment, just a moment, the dangerous businessman facade cracks and something else shows through. Something that might be actual human empathy. Take the chain off the door, he says quietly. No. Mara, take the chain off the door. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to give you my phone number, and you're going to call me tomorrow when you've slept. And we're going to finish this conversation like civilized people. Why would I call you? Because you're curious, because you're scared, and you want answers. Because whether you like it or not, you're involved now. He reaches into his jacket, slowly letting her see the movement, and pulls out another business card, the same kind that was in his coat. He slides it through the gap in the door. My private number, not the business line. She takes it with numb fingers. And Mara? He's already turning to leave, but he pauses. Keep the coat. You'll need it. Chicago winters are brutal, and that pea coat won't cut it. Consider it my thanks for not selling the drive to the highest bidder. Most people would have. I'm not most people. No, Vincent Marchetti says, looking back at her with those unsettling pale eyes. You're really not. Then he's gone, walking down her hallway with the kind of confidence that says he owns the building, the street, maybe the whole damn city. Mara stands in her doorway, chain still on, business card in one hand and coat in the other, until she hears the stairwell door close. Only then does she shut her door, lock both locks, and slide down to sit on the floor. The coat is still in her hands. She should throw it away. Burn it. Donate it to someone who doesn't know where it came from. Instead, she finds herself pressing her face against the wool, breathing in cedar and gunpowder and something else. Cologne, maybe. Expensive and subtle. The business card stares up at her from where she dropped it. Vam. Vincent Anthony Marchetti, she thinks. The middle name suits him somehow. Old-fashioned. Traditional. Like he's from a different era where men wore suits every day and settled disputes with handshakes and subtle threats. She's not going to call him. She's going to throw the card away, forget this ever happened, and go back to her normal life of night shifts and student loans and occasional bad dates that end with wrong coats. But she keeps the card. And the coat. And when she finally drags herself to bed at midnight, she dreams of pale blue eyes and a voice asking, "You have something of mine." The next morning, Mara wakes up convinced the whole thing was some kind of exhaustion-induced hallucination. But the coat is hanging on her bedroom door where she left it, and the business card is on her nightstand. Proof that Vincent Marchetti is real, and he knows where she lives. She should be terrified. Part of her is. But another part, the part that got her through nursing school and years of ER rotations, the part that doesn't back down when patients come in screaming and bleeding, is angry. Who does he think he is, showing up at her door? Tracking her down? Making her feel like she did something wrong when all she did was grab the wrong coat during a rainstorm while fleeing a handsy date? The anger carries her through her morning routine. She makes coffee, burns toast, scrolls through her phone without really seeing it. By noon, the anger has shifted back to fear. By 2 p.m., she's cycled back to curiosity. What's on that drive? If it's really just restaurant financials, why the secret pocket? Why track her down personally instead of sending those security people she overheard? Why give her his private number? At 3 p.m., she does something stupid. She calls the number on the card. He answers on the second ring. You slept on it. Not hello, not Marchetti speaking. Just an assumption that she'd call, that he knew she would, that he's been waiting for it. I have questions, Mara says. I have answers. Meet me. Absolutely not. Public place. Your choice. Bring a friend if you want. Somewhere you feel safe. His voice is different on the phone. Deeper somehow. More intimate. 1 hour of your time, Mara. That's all I'm asking. Why? You got what you wanted. The drive is back. We're even. Because you deserve an explanation, and because I don't like leaving loose ends. A pause. And because you intrigue me. That last part catches her off guard. I intrigue you. You ran from a bad date in the rain without your phone. You survived 3 days thinking you'd accidentally stolen from the Mafia. You opened your door to a stranger because he asked you to, and you still have enough fire in you to be angry about it. Yes, Mara, you intrigue me. She should hang up, should block his number and forget this ever happened. Instead, she finds herself saying, Lincoln Park, the coffee shop on Clark Street, 4 p.m., and you're buying. Deal. He hangs up before she can change her mind. The coffee shop is busy on a Saturday afternoon, which is exactly why Mara chose it. Plenty of witnesses, multiple exits, and it's a 10-minute walk from her apartment, so she doesn't have to waste money on an Uber. She gets there 15 minutes early and stakes out a table near the window. Good sightlines, easy escape route. She's wearing jeans and a sweater, her hair down, minimal makeup. This isn't a date. She doesn't know what this is. Vincent arrives exactly at 4. He's dressed down from last night. Dark jeans, a gray Henley, leather jacket. But even in casual clothes, he stands out. Women's heads turn as he walks in. The barista's eyes widen slightly. He's the kind of handsome that makes people nervous and interested in equal measure. He spots her immediately, weaves through tables with easy grace, and sits down across from her without asking. You came alone, he observes. So did you. I'm always alone. He signals to a passing barista who hurries over like Vincent is a celebrity. Espresso, and whatever she wants. Latte, Mara says. Large. When the barista leaves, Vincent leans back in his chair and studies her with those unsettling eyes. You look better. Less exhausted. I slept. Eventually. She folds her arms. You said you'd give me answers. Ask. What's really on the drive? I told you. Financial records. Try again. Vincent's lips quirk in what might be a smile. You don't believe me. You don't track down random women for payroll spreadsheets. Fair point. He waits while the barista brings their drinks, and Mara notices how the girl's hand shakes slightly as she sets down Vincent's espresso. Interesting. The drive contains financial records for all my businesses, not just the restaurants. I own properties throughout Chicago, commercial real estate, some residential, import-export operations. The records show money flows, partner agreements, percentages of ownership. In the wrong hands, that information could be used to target my associates, freeze accounts, or feed information to federal investigators who'd very much like to prove I'm more than just a successful businessman. Are you? More than a successful businessman. Vincent picks up his espresso, takes a sip. That depends on your definition. I run legitimate enterprises. I pay my taxes. I employ hundreds of people. I also come from a family with a complicated history. My grandfather made his fortune in ways that wouldn't stand up to modern scrutiny. My father expanded that fortune through methods that were questionable at best. I've spent the last 10 years trying to clean up the family business, make it legitimate, separate the Marchetti name from the old associations. But you can't erase history. People still see the name Marchetti and make assumptions. Some of those assumptions are fair. Some aren't. He sets down his cup. The drive proves I'm legitimate. It also shows connections to people who aren't. If certain prosecutors got hold of it, they could build a case that I'm still involved in organized crime. They'd be wrong, but they could make enough noise to destroy everything I've built. Mara processes this. So, you're reformed Mafia. I'm a businessman with a complicated legacy. His eyes glint with something that might be humor. But, yes, if you need a label, that works. And the blood on the coat? Vincent goes very still. You noticed that. I'm a nurse. I notice blood. It's not what you think. You don't know what I think. You think I hurt someone. Killed someone, maybe. That I'm dangerous and violent, and you should run far away from me. He leans forward slightly. You're half right. I am dangerous. But the blood isn't from violence. It's from a nosebleed. I get them sometimes. Stress, late nights. Nothing dramatic. Mara wants to believe him. She's good at reading people. You have to be in the ER. And everything about his body language says he's telling the truth. But she's also aware that men like Vincent Marchetti are probably very good at lying. Why did you really come to my apartment? She asks. You could have sent anyone to get the drive. Why you? Because I wanted to see who you were. The woman who accidentally walked into my life and didn't run screaming when she figured out who I was. He's watching her intently now. You're not afraid enough, Mara. That worries me. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm just also stubborn. I noticed. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out an envelope, slides it across the table. $10,000. Compensation for your trouble. Mara doesn't touch it. I don't want your money. It's not charity. You lost your phone because of me. You had 3 days of stress. You've earned it. A new phone costs $800, tops. What is this really for? Hush money? Insurance, Vincent says quietly. You've seen my face. You know my name. You have information that could hurt me. This is me saying thank you for your discretion. And if I don't want to be discreet, if I go to the police, then you'd be making a mistake. Not because I'd hurt you, he adds quickly, seeing her expression, but because there's nothing to tell them. You accidentally took a coat. I retrieved my property. No crime was committed. You'd waste your time and mark yourself as someone who makes problems. That's not a label you want in this city. He's right, and Mara hates that he's right. She picks up her latte, takes a long drink, uses the time to think. So this is goodbye? You give me money. I promise to forget we ever met, and we both move on? If that's what you want. But his tone suggests he doesn't think it is. What do you want? Vincent is quiet for a moment. Outside the window, Chicago bustles past, cars and pedestrians and the elevated train rumbling by. Normal people living normal lives. Nothing like this strange conversation in a coffee shop with a reformed mobster who looks like he stepped out of a fashion magazine. I want to take you to dinner, he says finally. A real restaurant, not that disaster you experienced on Tuesday. Somewhere nice. I want to prove to you that I'm not the villain you think I am. I don't think you're a villain. You don't think I'm safe either. Are you? No, Vincent admits, but I'd never hurt you. That much I can promise. Mara should say no, should take the envelope of money, walk out of this coffee shop, and never look back. This man is dangerous. He admitted as much. He comes from a world of blood and secrets and $2 million flash drives hidden in coat pockets. But she's also tired of playing it safe. Tired of 12-hour shifts and student loans and occasional bad dates with men who don't listen when she says no. Tired of being invisible, interchangeable, just another nurse in scrubs dealing with other people's emergencies while her own life passes by in a blur of exhaustion. Vincent Marchetti sees her, really sees her, and that's more intoxicating than any threat of danger. One dinner, she hears herself say, somewhere public, and you answer every question I ask, honestly. Deal. He stands, picks up the envelope, and hands it to her again. Take it anyway. Consider it a first date gift. Normal people bring flowers. I'm not normal people. He's smiling now, a real smile that transforms his face from dangerous to devastating. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 7. I can meet you. Mara, let me do this properly. I'll pick you up at 7, take you to dinner, bring you home safely. Old-fashioned courtship. My grandmother would insist. Your grandmother knows about me? Not yet, but she will. Vincent pulls out his phone, taps something. I just sent you a text. Now you have my number saved. If anything makes you uncomfortable tomorrow, if you change your mind, let me know. No pressure, no obligations. He leaves the same way he arrived, with the confidence of a man used to getting what he wants. Mara sits alone with her cooling latte and an envelope containing $10,000, wondering what the hell she just agreed to. Her phone buzzes. The text from Vincent reads, "Thank you for the coffee, and for not hating me. V." She types back before she can overthink it. I don't hate you. Not sure what I feel, but I don't hate you. His response is immediate. That's a start. The next 24 hours pass in a strange haze. Mara goes to work, a short shift, only 6 hours, and finds herself distracted. She keeps checking her phone, half expecting Vincent to cancel. He doesn't. At noon, a delivery arrives at the nurse's station. Flowers. White roses, 24 of them, with a card that reads, "For luck, because you're braver than you think." V. Her co-workers swarm immediately. Who's V? Are those from a patient? Mara, when did you start dating someone? She deflects, mumbles something about an old friend, and hides the card in her pocket. But the flowers sit on the counter for the rest of her shift, and every time she sees them, something warm unfolds in her chest. At 5 p.m., she races home to get ready. She has 2 hours, which should be plenty, except she has no idea what to wear. Where is he taking her? How fancy is too fancy? What's the dress code for dinner with a reformed mobster? She settles on a navy dress, simple, elegant, hits just above the knee. Heels that she can actually walk in. Hair down and slightly curled. Makeup a little heavier than usual. When she looks in the mirror, she barely recognizes herself. She looks like someone who goes on real dates with interesting men, not someone who eats takeout in front of Netflix most nights. At 6:55 p.m., she's pacing her apartment. At 6:58, there's a knock on her door. Vincent is in a suit again, navy this time, with a white shirt and no tie. His hair is styled, but not overly so, and he's holding a small box. "You look beautiful," he says, and the way he says it, like it's a fact, not a compliment, makes her blush. "You clean up nice yourself." He hands her the box. "For you." Inside is a bracelet, delicate silver chain with a single charm, a small compass. "So you always find your way home," Vincent explains, "no matter where you go." It's thoughtful. Too thoughtful. The kind of gift that suggests this is more than just one dinner to apologize for scaring her. Mara lets him fasten it around her wrist, trying to ignore how his fingers feel against her skin. "Ready?" he asks. "As I'll ever be." The car waiting downstairs is not what she expected. No limo, no ostentatious display. Just a sleek black sedan with tinted windows. Vincent opens the door for her, and she slides into leather seats that probably cost more than her entire apartment. "Where are we going?" she asks as he gets in beside her. "You'll see." They drive through Chicago as the sun sets, turning the sky orange and pink. Vincent doesn't fill the silence with unnecessary chatter. Instead, he seems content to just sit beside her, occasionally pointing out landmarks or sharing brief stories about the city. It's surprisingly comfortable. The restaurant, when they arrive, is not what Mara expected either. It's small, tucked away on a quiet street. No flashy sign, just a brass plaque that reads Gianna's. Vincent helps her out of the car, and they're immediately greeted by an older woman with silver hair and kind eyes. "Vincent, finally you bring a girl to meet me." She pulls him into a hug, then turns to Mara. "And so beautiful. Come, come. I have the best table for you." "Gianna, this is Mara. Mara, this is Gianna. She's been feeding me since I was a kid." Gianna leads them through the restaurant, only 8 tables, all occupied. The smell of garlic and fresh bread making Mara's stomach growl. Their table is in the back, private but not isolated. Perfect for conversation. "I thought you owned a fancy Italian place," Mara says once they're seated. "I own several. Bellissimo is the fancy one, for business meetings and impressing investors. This is where I come when I want real food." Vincent nods to the wine list. "Red or white?" "You choose." He orders in Italian, a rapid conversation with Gianna that ends with her pinching his cheek and winking at Mara. Then they're alone, candlelight flickering between them, and Mara realizes this is really happening. She's on a date with Vincent Marchetti. "You said I could ask questions," she begins. "I did." "Are you really out of the Mafia? Or is that something you tell people to make them feel better?" Vincent doesn't flinch. "I was never in the Mafia. Not officially. My father was. My grandfather definitely was. I grew up in that world, learned how it worked, understood the rules and the consequences. When my father died 5 years ago, I inherited everything. The businesses, the connections, the expectations. I also inherited the choice of what to do with it all. And you chose to go legitimate. I chose to survive. The old ways don't work anymore. Too much heat from the feds, too much infighting between families, too much risk. I saw where it was heading, and I didn't want to end up dead or in prison by 40. He pauses as Gianna brings wine, pours for both of them. "So I started selling off the illegal operations. Gambling, loan sharking, the protection rackets. I focused on the legitimate businesses and built them up. It took years. It cost me allies and made me enemies. But now? Now the Marchetti name means restaurants and real estate, not violence and intimidation. Do people believe that? Some do. Some don't. Some will never see me as anything but my father's son." He takes a sip of wine. "What do you see?" Mara considers this. She sees a man who tracked her down for a flash drive, but didn't threaten her. Who offered her money and then a date. Who brings flowers and thoughtful gifts. Who looks at her like she matters. "I see someone trying to be better than his past," she says finally. "I don't know if I believe you're completely clean, but I believe you're trying. That's more than most people give me." Vincent raises his glass. "To trying." Mara clinks her glass against his. "To trying." The food is incredible. Homemade pasta, veal that melts in her mouth, vegetables that taste like they came from someone's garden that morning. Vincent tells her about growing up in Chicago, about his grandmother who raised him after his mother left, about learning to run businesses before he could legally drink. He's funny when he wants to be, with a dry sense of humor that catches her off guard. In return, Mara tells him about nursing school, about the adrenaline rush of the ER, about the patient yesterday who coded 3 times, and they brought him back each time. She talks about her family, her mom in Ohio, who still thinks she should have been a teacher, her dad who died when she was 20, her younger brother who's in the army. It's easy. Too easy. By the time dessert arrives, tiramisu that Gianna insists they share, Mara has almost forgotten who Vincent is. He's just a man. An interesting, attentive man who listens when she talks, and whose eyes crinkle at the corners when he smiles. "Can I ask you something personal?" Vincent says, as he signals for the check. "Haven't we been doing that all night?" "The bad date, the one you ran from. What happened?" Mara's good mood dims slightly. "Nothing I haven't dealt with before. Guy who thought buying dinner meant I owed him something, who didn't like hearing no. I got out before it became a real problem." Vincent's expression hardens. "He hurt you?" "He grabbed my arm, left a bruise. But I handled it. What's his name?" "Why?" "Because men who don't understand no need to be educated." Vincent's voice is cold now, and Mara sees a glimpse of the dangerous man beneath the charming exterior. "What's his name, Mara?" "It doesn't matter. It's over. It matters to me." "Vincent." She reaches across the table, puts her hand on his. His skin is warm, and she feels him tense at the contact. "I appreciate the protective instinct, really, but I fought my own battles long before I met you. I don't need you to handle this." "But what if you let me anyway?" His hand turns over, fingers lacing with hers. "What if letting someone else fight for you sometimes doesn't make you weak? What if it just means you don't have to be strong alone anymore?" It's such a simple statement, but it hits Mara like a punch to the chest. Because she's been strong alone for so long, she forgot what it felt like to have someone offer to share the weight. "Marcus," she whispers. "His name is Marcus Leland. He works in finance downtown, and if you do anything illegal to him, I'll never speak to you again." Vincent's smile is sharp. "Define illegal." "Vincent, relax. I'll just have a conversation with him. Man to man. Explain proper behavior around women. If he's smart, he'll listen. And if he's not smart, then he'll learn the hard way." Vincent squeezes her hand gently. "Trust me." That's the question, isn't it? Can she trust him? This man from a world of violence who claims to have left it behind? This man who looks at her like she's precious and dangerous at the same time? "I'm trying to," Mara admits. "That's all I ask." He drives her home through Chicago at night, the city lit up and alive around them. They don't talk much, but it's a comfortable silence. When they reach her building, Vincent gets out and walks her to the door. "Thank you for tonight," Mara says. "For dinner, for the bracelet, for all of it. Thank you for giving me a chance." Vincent reaches out, tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture is intimate, tender. "I'd like to see you again, if you'll let me. I'm working nights this week, 12-hour shifts. Then I'll bring you coffee at 3 a.m. when you need it most. Tell me where, tell me when." "You'd really do that?" "Mara, I tracked you down for a coat. You think I won't bring you coffee?" His thumb brushes her cheekbone, and she leans into the touch without thinking. "I want to know you, really know you. Not just one dinner, not just stolen moments. I want to see where this goes." "This is crazy," she whispers. "We barely know each other. So let's fix that." He's close now, close enough that she can smell his cologne, see the faint scar on his jaw she didn't notice before. Close enough to kiss. She thinks he's going to. She thinks she wants him to. But Vincent just leans in and presses his lips to her forehead. Soft, gentle, reverent. "Good night, Mara," he murmurs against her skin. "Lock your door. Text me when you're inside safe." Then he's gone, walking back to his car, leaving her standing in the doorway with her heart pounding, and her lips tingling from a kiss that never happened. She texts him from her apartment. Inside. Safe. Thank you again. His response, sweet dreams. I'll see you soon. V. Mara falls asleep that night with the bracelet on her wrist and a smile on her face, dreaming of pale blue eyes and promises of coffee at 3 a.m. The next week passes in a blur of night shifts and text messages. Vincent doesn't push, doesn't demand more than she can give. But he's there, constantly. A good morning text when she wakes up at 6 p.m., a how's your shift message around midnight, and at 3 a.m., like clockwork, he shows up at Chicago General with coffee. The first time Mara thinks it's a fluke. She's on her break, sitting in the nurse's lounge and fighting to keep her eyes open, when one of the other nurses pokes her head in. Mara, there's a really hot guy at the desk asking for you. Says he has a delivery. She finds Vincent in the ER waiting area, looking completely out of place in his expensive clothes among the sick and injured. He's holding 2 coffee cups and a paper bag. You actually came, she says, too tired to be anything but honest. I told you I would. He hands her the coffee, large latte, exactly how she likes it, and the bag. Sandwiches from the deli on 5th. The good one, not the chain place. You need to eat. I eat. You grab vending machine snacks and call it dinner. That's not eating. He glances around the ER, the bloodied patient in Bay 3, the crying child in Bay 1, the general chaos of late-night emergency medicine. This is your world. Not glamorous, is it? It's real. It matters. You matter. Vincent steps closer, and Mara is suddenly very aware that she's in wrinkled scrubs with her hair in a messy bun, no makeup, probably smelling like antiseptic. And he's looking at her like she's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. I won't keep you. I just wanted to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Vincent, text me when you get home. Please. He touches her hand briefly, a whisper of contact. Be safe. He does it again 2 nights later, and then again. By the 4th night, the other nurses are buzzing with curiosity, and Mara is having trouble maintaining that this is just a friend. That's not a friend, Sarah, one of the veteran nurses, says bluntly. That's a man who's falling for you. Hard. We've been on 1 date. And he shows up at 3 a.m. with coffee and food, doesn't ask for anything in return, and looks at you like you hung the moon. Honey, that's not casual. That's commitment. Mara wants to argue, but Sarah's right. This isn't casual. Vincent texts her throughout the day, learns her schedule, remembers the little things she mentions in passing. When she complains about her neighbors being loud, he sends earplugs and a white noise machine. When she mentions missing her dad, he doesn't try to fix it, just sends a text that says grief doesn't follow a schedule. It's okay to miss him. On Friday, after her last shift of the week, Vincent picks her up from the hospital. It's 6 a.m., the sun just starting to rise, and Mara is exhausted. Come on, he says. I want to show you something. He drives her to the lakefront, to a spot where the city meets the water and the sky is turning pink and gold. They sit on a bench, and Vincent hands her yet another coffee. I used to come here with my grandmother, he says quietly. When things got bad at home, when my father was in one of his moods, she'd bring me here at dawn, and we'd watch the sunrise. She'd tell me that every day was a chance to start over, to be better than yesterday. Your grandmother sounds wise. She is. She's also terrifying. Runs the family with an iron fist disguised as love. Vincent smiles. She wants to meet you. Mara's heart skips. That's a big step. I know, I'm not asking you to decide now, but I want you to know that this is serious for me. You're serious for me. He turns to face her fully. I know it's fast. I know I should probably play it cool and not show up at your work and not text you constantly, but I've spent my whole life playing games and keeping secrets. With you, I don't want to do that. I want to be honest. Honest about what? About the fact that I haven't stopped thinking about you since you opened that door with the chain on. About how you make me want to be the man you deserve, not just the man I am. About how terrified I am that you'll realize I'm not good enough and walk away. His voice is raw, vulnerable in a way she hasn't heard before. I'm falling for you, Mara, and I need to know if there's any chance you're falling too. Mara looks at him. This complicated, dangerous, tender man who brings her coffee and protects her without smothering her and looks at her like she's precious. She thinks about the bracelet on her wrist, about goodnight texts and sunrise conversations, about how safe she feels when he's near despite knowing he comes from violence. I'm falling, she admits. I'm also terrified. Your world and mine, they don't make sense together. Maybe that's why it works. You see the best in people. I see the worst. You save lives. I've taken them in the past. To protect my family, to survive. I'm not proud of it, but I can't erase it. Vincent reaches for her hand. I understand if that's too much. If you need to walk away. Mara should walk away. Every logical part of her brain is screaming at her to run, but she thinks about the kid who died in her ER, about Marcus and his grabbing hands, about how the world is full of people who take and hurt and destroy. And here's Vincent, offering to be her shield while asking for nothing in return. I'm not walking away, she says, but I need you to promise me something. Anything. No more killing. I don't care what the reason is. I can't be with someone who kills people, even bad people, even in self-defense. Promise me. Vincent is quiet for a long moment. Then, I promise. No more violence unless it's to protect you or my family from immediate danger, and even then, I'll try every other option first. That's all I can ask. Mara squeezes his hand. And I want to meet your grandmother. The smile that breaks across Vincent's face is like the sunrise behind them. Warm, bright, full of promise. He pulls her into a hug, and Mara lets herself sink into him, breathing in cedar and gunpowder and safety. They sit on that bench until the sun is fully up and the city wakes around them. Vincent drives her home, walks her to her door, kisses her forehead again in that tender way that makes her ache for more. Sleep well, he murmurs. I'll see you tonight. Real date. Dress nice. I'm taking you somewhere special. Where? It's a surprise. He's already walking away, but he looks back with a grin. Trust me. And Mara realizes she does. Against all odds, despite everything that says she shouldn't, she trusts Vincent Marchetti. The date that night is to the opera. Mara has never been to the opera, has never owned a dress fancy enough for the opera, but Vincent sends a package to her apartment at noon. Inside is a gown, midnight blue silk that fits her perfectly, and a note. For tonight, you'll be the most beautiful woman there. Isis. V. She feels like Cinderella as Vincent picks her up in a town car, helps her out at the theater, guides her through a crowd of Chicago's elite with his hand on the small of her back. People recognize him. They nod, smile, move aside. Vincent Marchetti is someone important here, someone respected, and he's with her. During intermission, he introduces her to people, business associates, old friends, a city alderman. This is Mara, he says each time. She's mine. Not my friend, not my date. Mine, possessive and proud and claiming her in front of everyone. Mara should be uncomfortable with that. Instead, she's thrilled. After the opera, they walk through the city. Vincent has dismissed the car, wanting to just be with her. They end up at Navy Pier, the lights reflecting off the water, the Ferris wheel turning slowly against the night sky. Thank you for tonight, Mara says. I felt like a princess. You looked like a queen. Vincent stops walking, turns to face her. I need to tell you something. Her heart clenches. That sounds ominous. It's not. Or maybe it is. I don't know. He takes both her hands. Someone contacted me yesterday. A business associate from the old days. He wants a meeting. He has information about a rival family moving into Chicago, trying to take over territory. He wants me to help push them out. But you're out of that world. I am, but they don't care. They see the Marchetti name and think I'm still a player. And if I say no... Vincent's jaw tightens. If I say no, they'll see it as weakness. They might come after me, after my businesses, after the people I care about. After me, Mara says quietly. I won't let that happen. I have security. I have plans. But I need you to know that being with me comes with risks. There are people who'd use you to get to me. People who don't care about innocent bystanders. Mara should be scared. She is scared, but she's also angry. Angry that the past won't let him go. Angry that choosing to be better isn't enough. Angry that violence keeps reaching for them. What are you going to do? Tell them no, make it clear I'm out, and then prepare for whatever comes next. Vincent lifts her hands to his lips, kisses her knuckles. But I'll understand if you want to step back. If this is too much. Stop giving me outs, Mara says fiercely. I'm not fragile. I'm not going to run at the first sign of trouble. I work in an ER, Vincent. I deal with violence and blood and death every shift. I'm not afraid of your past. You should be. Maybe, but I'm more afraid of walking away and spending the rest of my life wondering what if. She steps closer, close enough to feel his heart beating, to see her reflection in his eyes. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell them no. You're going to protect your businesses and yourself, and I'm going to be right here, supporting you. Together. That's what people do when they care about each other. Mara. Kiss me. Vincent goes still. What? You've kissed my forehead a dozen times. You've held my hand, hugged me, looked at me like I'm everything. But you haven't really kissed me. And I need you to. I need to know this is real. For a moment, Vincent just stares at her. Then he's moving, one hand cupping her face, the other sliding into her hair. He gives her 1 second to change her mind, his eyes searching hers. Mara rises on her toes and closes the distance. The kiss is everything. Soft at first, tentative, like he's afraid she'll break. But Mara makes a small sound in the back of her throat and presses closer, and Vincent's control shatters. The kiss deepens, turns hungry, desperate. His arms wrap around her waist, pulling her against him. She grips his shoulders, loses herself in the taste and feel of him. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Vincent presses his forehead to hers. I love you, he whispers. I know it's too soon. I know it's crazy. But I love you, Mara Thorne. And I'm going to do everything in my power to keep you safe and happy, for as long as you'll let me. Mara's eyes burn with tears. I love you too. God help me, but I do. They kiss again, softer this time, sweeter. Around them, the city continues its night, cars passing, people walking, the Ferris wheel turning. But in this moment, it's just them. Just Vincent and Mara, two people from different worlds who found each other by accident and chose each other on purpose. The next few weeks are a whirlwind. Vincent introduces Mara to his grandmother, a tiny Italian woman with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue who takes one look at Mara and declares, "Finally, a girl with spine. I approve." Mara brings Vincent to meet her mother over video call. Her mom is skeptical at first. He's how old? And he does what for a living? But Vincent charms her with patience and honesty, and by the end of the call, she's smiling. The meeting with the business associates happens. Vincent says no, makes it clear he's out of the life. There are threats, posturing, attempts at intimidation. But Vincent stands firm, and when they leave, he has security tail them to make sure they actually leave Chicago. There's peace for a while. 2 months of normalcy. Dates and dinners and nights where Vincent stays over and they fall asleep tangled together, safe and warm. Mara meets his friends, former associates who've also gone legitimate, who treat her with respect and call her the woman who reformed Marchetti. Vincent comes to the hospital, brings coffee, sits with her during breaks, and learns the names of her co-workers. It's perfect. Too perfect. The other shoe drops on a Tuesday. Mara is at home, her day off, when someone buzzes her apartment. She's not expecting anyone. Vincent is in meetings all day, but she hits the intercom. Yes? Delivery for Mara Thorne. She buzzes them up without thinking, but when she opens her door, there's no delivery man. There are 2 men in suits, hard-faced and cold-eyed. Miss Thorne, we need you to come with us. Mara tries to slam the door. One of them catches it. pushes it open. She stumbles back, heart hammering, already reaching for her phone. Don't scream. Don't fight. We're not here to hurt you. But Vincent Marchetti needs to understand that his refusal has consequences. They're not rough. They don't hurt her. But they take her phone, escort her out of the building to a waiting car, drive her across the city to a warehouse in an industrial area she doesn't recognize. Inside, she's put in a chair, not tied, but surrounded by enough men that escape isn't an option, and she waits. Vincent gets the call at 3 p.m. He's in a meeting with investors when his phone rings with a number he doesn't recognize. He almost ignores it, but something makes him answer. "We have your nurse," a voice says. "You have 24 hours to reconsider our offer. Help us with the Russians, or she pays the price." The line goes dead. Vincent is moving before conscious thought catches up. He's out of the meeting, in his car, calling every contact he has. By 3:30, he knows where Mara is. By 4, he's outside the warehouse with 6 men. Security, loyal to him, good in a fight, but under orders not to start one. He walks in alone. The warehouse is dim, full of shadows and the smell of rust and old oil. Mara is in the center, sitting in a chair, unharmed but scared. When she sees him, relief floods her face. "Vincent, quiet." The man who spoke is older, 50s maybe, with silver hair and cold eyes. Carlo DeLuca. Vincent knows him, knows his reputation, knows that Carlo never bluffs. "Let her go," Vincent says quietly. "This is between you and me." "That's where you're wrong. You made it about her when you brought her into your life, when you paraded her around the city like she's yours." Carlo smiles, and it's not a nice smile. "She's leverage, Marchetti. The only leverage that works on you, because you're too smart to care about money and too protected to fear violence. But her? You'd burn the world for her." Vincent doesn't deny it. "What do you want?" "I told you. Help us with the Russians. One meeting. You use your name, your connections. You help us negotiate territory. Then we're square." "And if I say no?" "Then your pretty nurse learns what happens to people who get in the way." Mara speaks up, her voice steadier than Vincent expected. "Don't do it. Don't let them use me to drag you back into that world. Mara, I mean it. You've worked too hard to go clean. Don't throw it away for me." Vincent crosses the warehouse floor until he's standing in front of her chair. He kneels down, takes her face in his hands. "Do you trust me?" "Yes." "Then trust that I know what I'm doing." He kisses her forehead, then stands and turns to Carlo. "Here's my counteroffer. You let her walk out of here right now, unharmed, and I don't burn your entire operation to the ground." Carlo laughs. "You're out of the game, Marchetti. You have no leverage. Don't I?" Vincent's voice is cold now, the voice of the man his father raised. "You think I went clean without insurance? I have records, Carlo. Every dirty deal you've made in the last 10 years. Every bribe, every murder, every shipment. One phone call to the FBI, and you're done. Your sons, your associates, everyone. Finished. You're bluffing. Try me." Vincent pulls out his phone. "I can make that call right now. Or you can let Mara go, and we forget this ever happened. Your choice. You've got 10 seconds. The warehouse is silent. Mara can see the calculation in Carlo's eyes, weighing the risk, measuring Vincent's resolve. 9, Vincent says. 8. You'd really do it? Turn on your own kind? She's my kind now. You're just a mistake from my past. 4, 3. Carlo waves his hand. Fine, take her. But this isn't over, Marchetti. Yes, Vincent says quietly. It is. Because if you ever come near her again, if you even think about using her against me, I won't just call the FBI. I'll handle you personally. And you know what that means. The threat hangs in the air. Carlo pales slightly, and Mara understands that Vincent just revealed something. That despite his promises to go clean, despite his efforts to leave violence behind, he's still capable of it. Still dangerous when pushed. Vincent helps Mara to her feet, keeps her close as they walk out of the warehouse. His men are waiting outside, and they form a protective circle around her until they're in Vincent's car. Only then does he let himself shake. Only then does he pull her into his arms and hold her so tightly she can barely breathe. "I'm sorry," he whispers into her hair. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault. You saved me. I put you in danger in the first place. By loving you. By being with you." Mara pulls back, frames his face with her hands. Look at me, Vincent. This isn't your fault. You didn't kidnap me. They did. Bad people doing bad things. That's not on you. But, no buts. You kept your promise. You didn't kill anyone. You used your brain, your leverage, your connections. You saved me without violence." She kisses him, soft and fierce. "I'm okay. We're okay." Vincent holds her for a long time. Then he drives her back to his place, a penthouse apartment she's never seen. Secure and safe with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He doesn't let her out of his sight for the rest of the day. He orders food, runs her a bath, sits with her while she processes what happened. That night, lying in his bed with his arms around her, Mara says, "I'm not leaving you." "You should. It would be safer." "I don't care about safe. I care about you. About us." She rolls over to face him. "But I need you to promise me something else. Anything. No more secrets. If there are other threats, other people from your past, I need to know. I can't protect myself if I don't know what's coming. You're right. I'm sorry. I thought I could shield you from all of it, but that was naive." Vincent brushes hair from her face. "I'll tell you everything, and I'll teach you to protect yourself. Self-defense, awareness, everything you need to stay safe. Deal." They're quiet for a while. Then Vincent says, "Marry me." Mara goes still. "What?" "Marry me. Not someday. Not eventually. Soon." He rises up on one elbow, looking down at her with those pale blue eyes that see everything. "I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I almost lost you today, and I realize that I don't want to waste any time. I want you to be my wife. I want to protect you, provide for you, build a life with you. I want everyone to know that you're mine, and I'm yours." "Vincent, you don't have to answer now. Think about it. But know that I'm serious. I want to marry you, Mara Thorne. I want forever." Mara's eyes fill with tears. She thinks about the last few months, the coat, the drive, the coffee at 3 a.m., the opera, the kisses. She thinks about how Vincent looks at her like she's precious, how he kept his promise and saved her without violence, how he's willing to give up everything from his past for a chance at a future with her. "Yes," she whispers. Vincent goes very still. "Yes?" "Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to forever. Yes to all of it." She's crying now, happy tears, and Vincent is kissing them away, kissing her lips, her face, every inch of skin he can reach. "I don't have a ring yet," he says between kisses. "I'll get you one. The biggest, most beautiful ring you've ever seen. I don't need a big ring. I just need you. You have me, all of me, everything I am." Vincent holds her face in his hands, and his expression is so tender it makes her ache. "I love you. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret saying yes." "I won't regret it. I know I won't." They make love that night, slow and sweet and desperate, claiming each other, promising with their bodies what words can't fully express. Afterward, wrapped around each other in the darkness, Mara thinks about how her life changed because of a coat. A simple mistake that led to everything. The next morning, Vincent is on the phone before breakfast. Mara listens to him make arrangements, tightening security, dealing with the Carlo DeLuca situation, ensuring there are no more threats. He's efficient, commanding, every inch the man who used to run things in the underworld. But when he hangs up and turns to her, he's just Vincent. Her Vincent. "I'm meeting with Carlo in 2 hours. Public place, neutral territory. I'm going to make it very clear that you're off limits, and any further attempts to use you will end badly for him. Be careful. Always." He pulls her into his lap, kisses her temple. "And tonight, We're going ring shopping. Unless you want to wait. I don't want to wait. Let's do it tonight. The meeting with Carlo goes smoothly. Vincent makes his position clear, backs it up with enough evidence and threats that Carlo backs down completely. By the time Vincent leaves, he has assurances that Mara will never be touched, and that the Marchetti name is officially off limits for Mafia business. That night, they go to a jeweler Vincent knows. Private appointment, after hours. He lets Mara choose her ring, not the biggest or flashiest, but a platinum band with a single perfect diamond that catches the light and throws rainbows. It's perfect, she breathes as he slides it onto her finger. You're perfect. Vincent kisses her hand just above the ring. Mrs. Marchetti. Not yet. Soon. They set a date, 3 months away. Small wedding, just family and close friends. Vincent's grandmother cries when they tell her and immediately starts planning. Mara's mother flies in to meet Vincent in person, and though she's skeptical at first, Vincent wins her over by the end of the weekend. The months leading up to the wedding are a blur of planning and preparation. Vincent moves Mara into the penthouse, surrounds her with security she barely notices but knows is there. He teaches her self-defense like he promised, and she teaches him about her world, brings him to the hospital, introduces him to her patients, shows him the good she does every day. They balance each other. She softens his edges, reminds him to laugh, to live for more than just business and survival. He gives her stability, security, a love that's fierce and protective without being suffocating. The wedding day dawns clear and bright, a perfect Chicago autumn day. The ceremony is at a small church, intimate and beautiful. Mara walks down the aisle in a simple white dress, and Vincent waits for her at the altar in a tailored suit, his eyes never leaving her face. When the priest asks if he takes her to be his wife, Vincent says, "I do," with such conviction that several people tear up. When it's Mara's turn, she says, "I do," and means it with every fiber of her being. The kiss is sweet and perfect, and when they turn to face their guests as husband and wife, Mara sees Vincent's grandmother in the front row, beaming with pride. Her mother is crying happy tears. Sarah, from work, is grinning, and outside through the church windows the city stretches out, their city full of possibility and promise. At the reception, Vincent gives a toast. Most people spend their whole lives looking for someone who sees them, really sees them. Not the mask, not the reputation, not the past. Just them. Mara saw me from the beginning. She saw the man I was trying to be, not just the man I was. And she loved me anyway. She's my conscience, my compass, my home, and I will spend every day of the rest of my life being worthy of her. He raises his glass. To my wife, my Mara, my everything. The room erupts in applause. Mara is crying, laughing, overwhelmed. Vincent pulls her into his arms and whispers, "No more running, no more fear. Just us from now on." "Just us," she agrees. They dance until midnight, surrounded by people who love them, and when they finally leave for their honeymoon, 2 weeks in Italy, Vincent's homeland, Mara looks back at the reception, at the life they've built together, and marvels at how it all started. A coat, a rainy night, a mistake that became fate. Months later, Mara will laugh about it with Vincent. "What if I'd grabbed the right coat?" she'll ask. "What if I'd never taken yours?" And Vincent will pull her close and say, "Then I would have found another way to meet you, because you and me, we were inevitable. The coat just helped us along." And Mara will believe him, because in the end, it doesn't matter how they met. What matters is that they chose each other, fought for each other, built a life together against all odds. She took his coat by mistake. He showed up at her door, and everything changed. It's the kind of story people tell at dinner parties, half disbelieving. "You met how? A mafia boss? Really?" And Mara and Vincent will exchange glances, secret smiles, and think about all the parts they don't tell. The fear, the danger, the moments when it could have ended badly, the choice to love anyway, to trust anyway, to build something beautiful out of chaos. A year after the wedding, Mara gets pregnant. Vincent is simultaneously thrilled and terrified. Terrified he'll be like his father, that his past will somehow taint their child. But Mara is patient, steady. "You're not him," she tells Vincent over and over. "You're you, and you're going to be an amazing father." She's right. When their daughter is born, dark hair and pale blue eyes, perfect and tiny, Vincent holds her with such tenderness that Mara falls in love with him all over again. They name her Rose. Simple, classic, beautiful. And as Vincent rocks his daughter to sleep that first night, singing softly in Italian, Mara watches from the doorway and thinks about the journey that brought them here. A coat, a flash drive, a knock on the door. "You have something of mine." Turns out what Vincent was really looking for wasn't the drive at all. It was her. And what Mara was looking for, though she didn't know it at the time, was him. Someone to see her, to fight for her, to love her without hesitation or half measures. They found each other by accident. They kept each other on purpose. And in the end, that's all that matters. Not how the story started, but how it continues. Together. Always together.